Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another video from Edify Elite. This is me, Samir Ali, the Executive Director for Edify Elite. And today we're gonna focus on how to build a college list. More often than not, students come to me and it's mid of October and students come to me and they don't have an idea or haven't made their college lists till this date, because the Common App is already open. US admissions into different universities are already open, and it's right now it's early decision, and soon enough it's gonna be regular decision. And if you haven't made your college list, you should be panicking just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, because there's a lot of research that goes into how you're gonna make your college list. So what is the thought process? How do you make a college list? We're gonna go through all of these things. But first, if you haven't liked or subscribed to our page, please do tell your peers and do also subscribe to the page so you get alerted to our new videos. So when you make a college list, there are certain things that need to go in your head. There are certain pros and cons that you need to weigh, and the college list should align with your career goals. Students come to me, some students have very exceptional grades, but they don't have a good enough SAT score, they don't have a good profile, and they come to me and say that we want to apply to all Ivy Leagues. So it's about time you return back to reality. Or students come to me who have like mediocre grades and they are aspiring to go into an Ivy League university, but again the answer to that is that you need to come back to earth. You do not need to apply to all 8 Ivy League universities, because these Ivy League universities have an acceptance rate of somewhere about 3 to 5%. So even if you have a exceptional SAT score, you have straight A grades, you have a very good profile, it is still not a very good idea to apply to all 8 Ivy League universities, because not every Ivy League university is gonna align with your career goals, and not every university or not every top tier university does give out up to 100% need-based scholarship. So these are some of the things you need to be aware about. You need to be straight about some things. You need to set your priorities right. You need to see what is your budget. You need to see what are your career goals or what are your major goals, and you need to see your circumstances. Like for example, if you have any, let's say, certain requirements, or if you have any certain conditions that don't allow you to be in certain climates, or if you have if you don't like very crowded places or anything like that, these are factors that are going to affect you when to go to university. So you need to keep all of these things in check. You need to first of all make a list, or you need to get your priorities straight in your head, that what are your circumstances, what is your budget, and what are your career goals. So and also, if you apply to all 8 Ivy League universities, these Ivy League universities sometimes require about up to 5 or 6 prompt essays, SOPs, and the applications. So they're gonna be a lot for a student to do when it's August, September, October. It's gonna be a lot of work that needs to go into all of these things. So the students sometimes get burned out. And to what benefit? There is no benefit to applying to all 8 Ivy League universities if if your application is not gonna have quality to it, because quantity does not matter, quality matters. What we believe here at Edify Elite is that your college list should be divided into 3 categories. That is your dream universities, second is your reality universities, the ones that you actually have a very good chance of getting into, and then some safety universities. So let's start with the first category. The first category is your dream universities, and this is the category that is the easiest to make, because we dream a lot of things and we want to get into the best of the best universities, or every student wants to get into the best of the best universities. So this is a category that is the easiest to make and will have your Ivy Leagues and your top 10 to 15 universities in it. So this is the category that is going to be easiest to make. If you have always dreamt about going to Harvard or UPenn or Cornell, then you can put these universities into your dream universities. Then we move on to our reality universities. Now this is the category that is most crucial to your objectives, to your future, to your career, to you getting into a university, because this is the category that has the universities that you have an actual chance of getting into. Now the acceptance rates or the universities might vary from students to students, because some students might come in with a very high SAT score, very good grades and a very good profile, so their universities are going to vary. Then a student who has a mixture of A's and B's, has some SAT score above between 1350 to 1450, and has some accolades in his profile but not a lot, so these universities are going to vary. For someone who has more A grades and has a good profile and has good SAT scores, universities can be something like UC Berkeley, or it can be Johns Hopkins. For someone who has a mixture of A's and B's, not a very high SAT score and a reasonable profile, you can apply to universities, for example, like UT, University of Texas, Dallas. You can apply to Arizona State University. You can apply to University of Buffalo, and there are some universities in California that have a good acceptance rate, that do give out up to 100% scholarship, and they do host a lot of international students. So for example, like, it also varies from your major goals. For example, if you take into account Dartmouth or UC Berkeley, they're known for their business programs, or accounting and these kind of fields. So you can apply to these universities. For someone who wants to get into a medical university, Johns Hopkins can be a very good option for them. So this reality category is going to vary, but you should be certain about one thing, that reality, you should have your perspective and your reality in check. And I think the best person to help you or give you that reality check is your student counselor. He can tell you that certain universities have certain requirements, and what university regarding your circumstances can suit you better. That is why student counselors are there. That is why we have that experience to help you understand your circumstances, understand what university you can actually get into. Now, when we move on to the third category, this is a category that some students get offended by when I tell them that they need to have some safety universities. But having safety universities is a very good idea, because even in life, there's always a golden rule that you should have a backup plan. So this serves as your backup plan, that applying to a safety college is not going to be very burdensome for you. You can apply to 2 or 3 safety colleges, so they won't require a lot of essays. But in the worst case scenario, you will have some extra offer letters that you can choose if you don't get into your reality or your dream universities. So this is a category that hosts universities with an acceptance rate of 50, 60, even 70 to 80%, and do give out scholarships as well. You can apply to these colleges. So moving on, there are some things that you also need to understand. You don't need to apply to more than 20 colleges. Like, I believe, or I always tell my students that, or young aspirants, that if you apply to more than 20 colleges, it's gonna be very financially burdensome for you, because almost every college has, there are some colleges that do not have an admission fee, application fee, but most colleges have application fees. If you apply more to, like, the 20 is the maximum limit. If you apply to more than 20 colleges, it's gonna be very burdensome for you, because you'll have to write all of these essays. Then some students get so irritated that they start replicating their essays, and that is never a good idea. Or they start using AI tools to, like, modify their essays, and that is never a good idea. So 20 being the maximum limit, you should never opt for more than 20 colleges. Even for the common app, you are only allowed to apply to 20 colleges. Even if there are some universities that are not on the common app, you will have to apply to them independently, and like, that does take a strain on you. That does require you to, like, burn the midnight oil, like, research, write essays, and do a lot of things, because getting into US universities and getting a scholarship is never an easy task. I never say in my videos that it's an easy task. It's a very daunting process, and that is why it is always a good idea to seek help. Now, I do think in my head, I have a certain number of universities that go into each year, or you should, like, try to apply for, like, the category. You can split the categories into different numbers, and then you should apply to the colleges, shortlist the colleges according to what percentage of colleges you're gonna have in a certain category. So for undergrad, you can have about 5 to 7 dream universities. You can have about 9 to 10 reality universities, and you can have 3 to 4 safety colleges. And for postgraduate, you can have about 5 dream universities, 4 to 6 reality colleges, and 1 to 2 safety universities. Now, this is like the different things that you need to keep in your head, you need to think about when you're making a college list. Some individual concerns that I already talked to you about in the start of the video, that include a university's physical location, that include the climate of a certain state, that include the intake size of each university, like how many students they're taking each year. Like, for example, I did talk about the University of San Francisco in my last video. Although it does not have a very high ranking, it does have a good ranking, and the University of San Francisco is, like, located in the heart of the Silicon Valley. So for a student who aspires to have a career in the tech industry or the IT industry can, like, opt for this university in his reality or his safety category, because it does have a lot of startups. It does, Silicon Valley does have a lot of big IT companies, the global leaders in IT. They have their headquarters in San Francisco. You can always get internships or even get job offers after you complete your degree while you're in San Francisco. So these are some of the things a student needs to talk about with his student counselor. They need to discuss a lot of things and then make their college list. College lists just don't randomly turn up in one night. It does take weeks to finalize your college list and then apply to these universities. It's always good to, like, keep up to date on different things like you can check the recent news about some universities or their rankings on the US News Report. You can use the niche app to like compare different universities. It's always also a good idea to check the requirements of each university, because sometimes they're not very strict when it comes to undergraduate, but there are some requirements, like for example you need to have these subjects in your high school and your secondary school, in your lower school and your high school, to get into a certain program. For postgraduate, the requirements are a bit more strict, like you need to have an undergrad in a certain field, or you need to have certain majors in your undergrad to be able to apply for the postgrad program or the postgrad degree in certain universities. There are certain GPA requirements, CG cumulative GPA requirements that need to be fulfilled. Some universities, or a high number of universities, also require you to give the GRE exam for certain programs. So it's better to be well prepared than to be disappointed later. So you need to check all of these things and make a good, well researched college list, so you don't have to face disappointment later on. So this was the purpose of this video. We here at Edify Elite have been working for a number of years on all of these things. We do keep up to date on the requirements, on what universities should go into according to your personal requirements, your circumstances, your interest, what universities would be best suited for you. It does save us a lot of time, and it does save the student a lot of time. And if you need any help regarding how to make a college list, how to apply to universities, your profile, SATs, please do let us know, and we're always here and happy to help. Thank you so much.